Hello, and welcome to the Monster Painter. This week, I do up the ruins of Dol Guldur. So, what do we get with our copy of the ruins of Dol Guldur? We have a lovely box with some great box art and a lot of logos. Lots and lots of fingers on this property. Inside the box, we unsurprisingly find a bunch of sprues. 3 sprues, in fact. And you really have to hand it to the designers at Games Workshop. They know how to pack it onto a sprue. Okay, lots to do. I better get cracking. Time to start snipping, clipping, and trimming. As a reminder, when working with your sharp, pokey, cutty tools like utility knives, be mindful. They are dangerous, and so be attentive to what you're doing. This is an elaborate and complex model, and we don't want to be distracted by blood while we're building the damn thing. There are a lot of parts, and I really have my work cut out for me. I must reiterate, this is a complex model. A really complex model, with a lot of slightly different, rather samey parts. So go slow. Study the instructions carefully. The images in the guide are a little muddy, so be careful. If you use the wrong parts on the wrong components, the thing won't fit together and it'll be all tears and frustration. I made some errors and I had to pry apart the pieces just before the glue set. So be careful, be deliberate. Games Workshop terrain kits are always full of moments of desperation and frustration, and this one is no different. The plus side of an elaborate complex build is it yields an elaborate and complex model. The finished structure is tactically exciting and a visually interesting, impressive piece of tabletop terrain. I believe I plunked down around $80 Canadian at my local shop, the Sword and Board here in Toronto. I had some money burning a hole in my pocket, what can I say? I figure the build alone was around 12 hours, give or take. So if you find building models fun, this kit is good value for you. The entertainment value on the build was about $6.70 an hour, which is, pretty inexpensive if you look at it that way. And it's a challenging build that rewards you with an excellent model at the end. And damn, I am so glad the build is finished. Okay, maybe not quite done. The kit includes a cute little gothic statue, which is definitely the easiest part of this model kit to put together. And here she is in all her great gray glory, a magnificent ruin ready for the tabletop. Now to paint it up. Of course, I carefully prime the model only to paint it up a nice color of gray. This always seems silly and makes me scratch my head, but oh well. And I add a lighter layer of dry brush of gray because painting a gray model gray is just common sense, really. On to the final bit of light dry brushing. I put on a pale mixture of Payne's gray and unbleached titanium onto all the stonework. And while I'm doing this, I'm lulled into thinking it's going to be a quick, simple paint job. Really, really silly of me to think that. Now, this kit is branded with the Hobbit movies, but we won't hold that against this kit. I admit I have never watched them, but making a 9-hour, 3-part epic out of a 150-page boys' own story strikes me as a bit ridiculous. The Hobbit is a nice, tight, little story, especially compared to the sprawling, somewhat purple epic The Lord of the Rings that follows it up. And I think it would have been ideal for a solid hour-and-a-half movie. A 9-hour version seems very self-indulgent and kinda greedy, or kind of both. At least, that's my opinion about a movie series I can't be bothered to watch. Of course, no Games Workshop model is ever truly a simple, quick, easy paint job. And it's time to get bogged down in the fiddly details. And there are a lot of details. Primarily all these metal accents all over the walls. Yeesh, this is gonna take some time. Oh my god. So many details. I think I'm gonna go blind doing all these details. All these metal accents are a bit crazy making, but they're starting to look like a bunch of mystic ruins that have been added later to this ancient ruin. This is kind of cool and really makes the model look like the hangout for some sort of super wicked, ultra evil magical villain, which are what the ruins of Dol Guldur are supposed to be. Now, I'm no tokenologist, but as I understand it, these ruins are where Sauron hid out after he lost the Ring of Power and his physical form was destroyed. Apparently, he skulked around here in these ruins deep inside of Mirkwood Forest for a couple of thousand years, in a form known as the Necromancer, quietly working away until some heroes shoot him out of there. I think these ruins are only tangentially connected to The Hobbit, but they are a significant location in the overall story of Middle-earth, and if you play the Middle-earth strategy battle game, for which these are intended, then you'll love this kit. And I must say, most of my favorite 21st century models by Games Workshop come from the line Middle-earth strategy battle game. They're excellent sculpts. They're both heroic and naturalistic at the same time, beautiful with tons of character. One of my first videos was about another terrain kit in the line, the Rohan House. Great stuff. I love this line from Games Workshop. That being said, I don't actually play Middle-earth strategy battles game, but this thing is going to make an excellent bespoke addition to my collection of ruins for Frostgrave. It's absolutely perfect for that high fantasy magic setting. The ruins of old Felstad are getting just a little bit bigger. You can easily see how these would be very useful in your games of Dungeons & Dragons, the ideal lair for a wide variety of unspeakably evil enemies. It's just a lovely, high magic, high fantasy bit of terrain. One last bit of detail before I lose my mind. The Woeful Ruins have some mean thorny vines growing on them, and I'm going to base them in raw umber before I dry brush them with a bronze yellow off screen, along with doing all the other details and finishing washes all off screen, because I've got to finish this and it's making me kind of crazy. And after all is said and done, here is our final product. This is definitely no discount piece of terrain, but rather a bespoke ruin and a fine hideout for the most badass of boss monsters. It was a lot of work with a fine fancy result. And how could I forget the grim little gothic statue that comes with this kit? He's a nice bit of atmospheric scatter terrain for sure. Okay, on to this week's monster fight. And it's a goldfish man versus a dinosaur. Who will win? Place your bets now. The fight is on. Ooh, and it looks like it's a close one. But I think we have our winner. Looks like this week's match goes to the goldfish man. Congratulations, Goldie. Next week on The Monster Painter, I build a tabletop fountain out of some garbage. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Watching Les the Monster Painter.